Good morning, Ella.
Hi, Tessy. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I am well. I am managing to survive lockdown. I'm staying hard at work. I'm doing what I can in my community. There's days where I find it a little bit tough, but today is a good day so far.
That's fantastic. So, as I'm sure there's some people who do not know you yet, Ella. So, tell us a bit about you and what are you up to in your life and work life?
So I am the managing director of One Young World, which is the global forum for young leaders. We believe that we've been existing for a decade, and we believe that most of the big problems the world faces are as a result of a lack of leadership. So our mission is to create the next generation of more responsible and effective leaders. And I feel like the coronavirus pandemic has sadly shown how true our beliefs were and how much we do need better leadership. The other thing that we believe is that we can only solve these big problems like climate change, like pandemics, when we act as one human family, where the life of someone in a slum in Delhi matters as much as a wealthy person in Los Angeles, or where the life of a refugee is as important as politicians. And I think this really shows, like, the virus is the best example of that. Like, we won't be safe until all of us are safe. So it's a very inspiring time to be working on One Young World, especially with amazing young leaders who are leading the charge on the front lines in their communities. We've got the most heartwarming stories of a doctor in Nepal who's helping disinfect monasteries, because that's typically where people go when they're ill, and setting up medical care in the most remote areas. People distributing government literature in different languages to refugee communities who wouldn't understand the government message about the deadly virus if they weren't doing it. So I'm so inspired by young people. I think a lot of the media has been saying, oh, young generations are going to be left behind as a result of this pandemic and the recession. And I just don't think it's true. I think young people are going to be at the heart of the solutions, and they can absolutely lead the fight.
Wow, that's so inspiring. And I had the great honor and pleasure to speak at some of your One Young World events and also attend the global conference, which is described as well. So, One Young World is also described by Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, who has attended as well your global conference, as the best think tank imaginable. Wow, what a feedback from Megan. So tell me a little bit about the global conference and how do you get these amazing leaders to come? What do they contribute to the young people who attend the conferences?
So every year, our global summit brings together about 2,000 young leaders. And what's unique is it's every single country in the world. So from Palau to Luxembourg, of course, Russia, Mozambique, name it, the Vatican City, they are there. So other than the Olympics, it's the most international gathering of young people. And we bring to them together with inspiring leaders like the late Kofi Annan, like Desmond Tutu, Bill Clinton, Justin Trudeau, and Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, has been involved for the past 6 years, actually, so long before she knew Prince Harry. And the idea is to give young people inspiration, information, and motivation to really go back and accelerate change in their communities. So since we're about to release our new impact report, but I'll give you a sneak preview. So since 2010, 26 million lives have been impacted by One Young World ambassadors. So it is a conference, but it's really about action, and it is about being a catalyst. So young people who come and maybe they've done some work already, or they've got an idea, and they go home and they go, I'm not going to wait till I'm older. I'm not going to wait till I'm richer. I'm going to act tomorrow. And I think particularly in the coronavirus pandemic, we've seen how essential that is, that people feel that they can make a difference. I actually wrote a book last year with my mom, who founded One Young World, called How to Make a Difference. We go into a lot of those stories. So if anyone's looking for some lockdown reading, it is available on Kindle as well as on Amazon. And it's got lots of inspiring stories from everyone from Emma Watson and Bob Geldof to really, really humble grassroots activists. So there's some good, hopefully a good lockdown read.
Wow, that's amazing. Yes, I will. I already had the sneak peeks of the book, and I know a lot of people who actually read the whole book and said it's one of their top 10 books to read for game changers. So definitely we'll put that as well in the link after the video. So tell me, you are a very young woman and very inspirational. You're one of my inspirational friends. So how
You're
did
one of
Ah, you were so kind. How did you get into all of that? How did you decide to work with your mother?
Yeah, the charity was founded kind of when so I'm 28 now. The charity started a decade ago, so I was still in high school. And like any startup, whether it's a charity or a business, everyone gets involved, right? Like I know people who started businesses and their delivery driver didn't come. They're like, "Mom, can you come and drive my bags to the market or whatever?" Right? So I think it was the same for us, but the other way around. And I worked at One Young World throughout university. Someone sponsored me to go to the summit. As a delegate, which was a real privilege. And I was really inspired, but I wanted to be a lawyer, and my mum wanted me to be a lawyer. So I took a training contract with Freshfields, which is a big British law firm. And then I started law school and realized it wasn't for me, and I wasn't going to be a very good lawyer. And actually, I really wanted to to work in something really impactful. But I also wanted to work on something growing, and One Young World was growing at that time, and I was really, really intrigued by that. And I think throughout my career, growth is probably what interested me most. And I think it's a really good thing if you don't know what you want to do, to think of something like what's growing, what's gaining momentum, what's building, and join that, because then you can be a part of building something, and that's always incredibly rewarding. And I would say that that's for a lot of people who don't want to go into corporate careers. That's what I always advise them: is look for something that's growing so that you can be a part of that journey.
Okay, very, very good advice. So tell me, talking about growing, individual growing then, how does one become an ambassador for One Young World? As you said, we have as well ambassadors in Luxembourg. So how does one apply for it? And is there a limit to how many ambassadors you can have per region? And how do people get in touch with One Young World ambassadors in their regions?
Those are such good questions. So we are really, really dedicated to making sure that this summit is accessible to everybody, regardless of how much money you have, where you're from. We have a really, really incredible scholarship program. So if you go to oneyoungworld.com and you go to the scholarship section, you'll see that there are all sorts of scholarships, and at the moment, we've got our leading scholarships available. So every single country in the world has got a scholarship spot open to them. Additionally, we've got scholarships with some of our corporate friends. So for example, the Audi Environmental Foundation has got a scholarship at the moment for young eco entrepreneurs. So what I would say is we're looking for people with a track record of leadership, who've actually done something. So it's not just an idea, they've actually taken some action. Last year we had 50,000 applications for about 500 spots. So it's very, very competitive, way more competitive than Harvard or Stanford. But we do get some amazing people. So I really would encourage people to apply. And last year I met somebody and it was their 4th year of applying, and they finally got through, and they said, every year I learned and I took away from something, and the next year I tried harder, and I eventually got here. So it's a life-changing experience. We also do run events in the regions. Obviously at the moment, all of our physical events have been put on hold, but we have an incredible series called Together Apart, with great celebrities like Terry Crews, and we're going to have Jamie Oliver soon, but also people like the former head of the UN in Geneva, and some really, really great sort of more serious people as well. So if you're looking for an event to attend virtually, the Together Apart series is a really great place to start, and there's some really inspirational content.
That's amazing. So is there an age limit to becoming an ambassador?
Well, we recommend 18 to 30, but we do go up to kind of 35 for some of our programs. And sometimes we get people who are way older than that, in their 40s, and someone sponsors them to come. What I would say is, the people who benefit from it most tend to be in the age group, because it's the peer-to-peer mentoring and the peer-to-peer network is just such a wonderful part of it, is that you meet other people who are 26 or however old they are from, who are your counterpart from, let's say, Mongolia, and you realize how much you have in common. And I think that kind of being with your age group is something that's really special. And but now, 10 years in, some of the people who came in the first year are kind of, a lot older, and they're in way more senior positions. So we're not the end of a journey. We are just a springboard or a stepping stone. And it's amazing to see what people do after they come to the summit and come through our program.
Amazing. So it's not lost for me yet. I can still be, I'm not 35 yet.
You're definitely part of the family.
Oh, another few months. So this is all, if I may say, pre-corona. So now during the lockdown, we're all at home. The Zoom clock is kind of like from one living room to the other. How do you cope with COVID-19, and what does One Young World do to contribute to the community and the society as a whole?
So first of all, we're an employer. So my first duty is to my team. I've got about 35 staff. And so being able to make sure that they keep their jobs, that we haven't furloughed anybody and we've not laid anyone off. That was like our first port of call, was to make sure that our immediate community was protected. Like they say on planes, you have to put on your own oxygen mask before you can help other people. Once we were in a position to have secured all of that, we were really grateful to have continued support from our partners, and from some partners even increased support. So that was really encouraging and really inspiring. And I think the reason why that's been the case is because they know that our community of One Young World ambassadors are actually leading the fight against COVID-19 in their communities. So we have got some really, really exciting initiatives coming up to help support young leaders on the front lines. So stay tuned for some very, very exciting news. But also really importantly, keeping people connected. I think everyone's isolated to an extent and alone and fearful. And I think plugging into a community of inspiring peers has been really a great opportunity for young people, especially where there are great initiatives to help, and we've seen everything from like there's a wonderful initiative in Amsterdam, for example, for mainly refugee kids to have somewhere to study. And, a lot of their homes won't have internet or computers, and they can go somewhere, do their homework, help learn Dutch, and get some community support. Obviously those centers have had to close, but what this organization's pivoted to is delivering groceries to those impoverished families, many of whom have been laid off, so that they can socially distance, and also install internet, donate computers to allow children to access online learning from home, because you've got children, it's really tough trying to keep your kids in school when they can access the internet. And for families on the poverty line who don't have that luxury, you're essentially stopping your kids' education. So I've been so inspired and so humbled, and I think there's so much privilege to appreciate for me and for you and our friends. But I also, it's opened my eyes to so many people who were right there in my community before, and I wasn't necessarily looking for people to help. But I would definitely say, if you are finding it tough, find some elderly people in your community to do their grocery shopping and to take care of. There's one couple that I deal with regularly. I coordinate a volunteer network, but there's one couple that's my couple, and we write notes to each other, and they write me little cards, and I bring them flowers, and it's been such a wonderful intergenerational exchange, and it makes my day whenever we have contact. And I feel like that's something I would never have done in normal times. So it does show that there's always a silver lining, and there's so much to be gained when you just look a little bit outside your front door.
That's beautiful. Yes, and I have seen on your Instagram a picture where you were walking in the street with a beautiful bouquet of flowers when you went and put it in front of their doors. So that's really, really beautiful. So our time has run out already. I know, it's crazy. So one last anecdote from you, Ella, to the world. What would you like people to know, to share, to think about during these times of Corona?
I think the most important thing to remember is we're all in this together, and we have to put the furthest behind first. We have to, if coronavirus takes hold in informal settlements and slums and refugee camps, we're all going to be on lockdown for a really, really long time. So yes, it's important to help your community and your own country, but every single person needs to have an international mindset. And there's a former NASA astronaut who's part of the One Young World community who says we shouldn't think of this as a global problem. We should think of it as a planetary problem. This is about our environment. This is about our planet. This is about our forests and our oceans. All of those things play a role. And when we start thinking about the fact that we're all on one planet together, we will find the solutions through this. But everyone needs to try and remember this will pass. And being positive isn't about not sometimes feeling sad or sometimes feeling down. It's about knowing that there are better times ahead.
Wow, that's beautiful and very powerful. Well, thank you, Ella. Thank you so much for your beautiful time, and all the best, and continue to work so hard. I'm really inspired, and I cannot wait to see you physically for a good glass of champagne when we...
And a hug.
Bye.
Thank you, Tessy.
Bye.